Okay, so I want to do some more questions on using long division. Sometimes even when you have a remainder, you have to use long division. Let's say I have a problem that looks like this. I have a rectangle, and let's say I want to know what the length of the rectangle is, but we know that the width of the rectangle is r is equal to 5. And we know the area of the rectangle, which is, let's say, r cubed plus, or not plus, let's say it's minus 24r and minus 5. Okay, so the way that there's a couple things that we have to worry about. First of all, we know that when we take something like, say, 5 and we take that into 250, we know I'm going to look at this first term. At 5 won't go into 2, so we have to look at 25. So 5 goes into 25 5 times. So 5 times 5 will give me 25, and then we know we're going to subtract that. So that's going to give me 0, and then I'm going to bring down that other 0. I know that 5 will go into 0 times, so I know that my answer is going to be 50, and I have a 0 remainder. Okay, now I'm looking at, well, 5 times 50 will give me 250. Okay, so that's the same thing that we're doing here. Now the difference is when I'm taking r minus 5 and I'm taking it and I'm dividing it by, well, let me write this way, because we're saying r cubed minus 24r minus 5, and we're dividing that by r minus 5. Okay. Well, when I talk about r minus 5 and I'm taking that into r cubed minus 24r minus 5, okay? Think about when I take that, we're going to, whatever we put in here, okay? So let's say, for example, I know in order to get r cubed, I'm going to multiply r by r squared. So r squared times r is going to give me r cubed. Okay, so that's not a big deal. Then we also have to take r and multiply it by negative 5. R squared times negative 5 is going to give me negative 5r squared. Well, here's the problem right here. Negative 24r. I can't subtract these two terms. I can't subtract them because they are not like terms. So in order for me to account for that term, that square that's going to happen, I have to put a placeholder in. So I'm going to put plus 0r squared. Now in this case, I don't have to add a 0r because we have the 0, we have minus 24r, and then minus 5, okay? So now when I put that r squared times 5, that's going to become minus 5r squared, okay? Now, I'm going to subtract this whole binomial from the top. When that happens, remember that negative needs to be distributed to the r cubed and the 5r squared. So that's going to become plus, that's going to become minus r squared. R cubed. R cubed minus r cubed is 0. 0 plus 5 gives me plus 5r squared. So we don't need to write that 0 because that 0 is just 0. And we really technically don't need to write the positive. Okay? I'm going to bring down my minus 24r and then the minus 5. Okay? Now I'm going to look at, okay, well, r goes into 5r squared times. It goes in positive 5r times. Now, 5r times r gives me 5r squared. 5 times 5 gives me negative 25r. Again, just like we did above, I'm going to subtract this whole polynomial. So that means that all of my signs here are going to switch. Now, this is going to become positive. That's going to stay negative. They cancel each other out. Negative 24 plus 25 gives me just r. Bring down the negative 5. Now, r minus 5, that matches. It goes in one time, so that's going to be plus 1. So this is going to be r minus 5, again subtracting, so all of these signs switch. That has a 0 remainder. So my answer for length is going to be r squared plus 5r plus 1. Okay? Let's say, let me see, how long is this video lasting? I'm not quite sure. I'm going to go ahead and stop it, and then on the next problem, I'm going to go over the triangle and see what we can look at on